I wanted to share with the Chevra. It has to do with cursing. I spoke yesterday putting in the parasha. This is the parasha of the Mekalel. Amongst other things in Parashas Emor is somebody curses in Parashas Emor. And I wanted to speak about getting cursed. The parasha speaks about a cursor, and there's a whole sugya, a tifus sugya about a cursor. I wanted to speak about getting cursed for a few minutes. There's a yid. What I'm saying comes from Reb Shaul Alter. Reb Shaul Alter is the Rosh Yeshiva of Ger, and has started a new Chasidus. This Reb Shaul Alter, this beautiful yid, has started a new Chasidus, and he's a remarkable human being. I've listened to some shiurim from him, and I'm drawn to him a lot. A remarkable human being, a lichtiga. He's one of the most relaxed people I've ever experienced in my life, but deeply, not relaxed. There are people that pretend to be chill. He's one of the most calm, miyushav people. Just when I hear him speak, incredibly miyushav, calm, cheerful, and just a precious, precious tzaddik, Reb Shaul Alter. He a very special yid. And I want to share something. He said that's a life's value. It's hard to get to there, Simcha, but I want to speak about it. People speak about chasidus. Like, what is a chasid? Chasidish. What's a chasid? The shtreimel is the furthest thing from a chassid. If you know anything about chasidus, chitzonius is like the opposite of externalities are the opposite of chasidus. You could have the shtreimel spadik, and you're not a chassid. It has nothing to do with the long pay, a zero. People like that, maybe they're chassidim, maybe not. It has no shaykhs. What's a chassid? What's chassidish? Chassidim, the Baal Shem started a movement. What is it? What's it about? What makes somebody chassidish? I'm no expert to share this with the guys. I'm not a bucky in the Torah of the Baal Shem, though I'm aspiring to learn the Torah of the Baal Shem. But what I do know is it has nothing to do with the size of payas. A guy could have the biggest payas. Well, he's not chassidish. A guy could have payas here. He's chassid. It has nothing to do with payas. It has nothing to do with spadik, shtreimel. Zero. Not like, well, that's an external expression. No, that's not chassidus. Zero. A guy could have all of that and not be a chassidish yid. What's chassidus? What is it? What's chassidish? Now, I'm not talking about the chassidus of the Gemara. I'm talking about the movement that the Baal Shem HaKadosh started. So there are many aspects. I want to talk about one aspect. And there are many stories in the Chassidish world, and it was an important aspect of the world that the Baal Shem started. The Baal Shem, like every human being, believes a lot in Hashgachas Hashem, Hashgacha. The Rabbeinu Shalom runs the world. And if you hear something, you were supposed to hear that. If you hear something, you were supposed to hear that. One guy could scream something to another guy, and you heard it. It was a message from Hashem. They just believe in Hashgachas Hashem, and they took very seriously a random encounter. There are tons of stories in Sipurei Tzadikim of Chasidim, where a guy would say something to a yid and say something, be like, wow, okay, thank you, Hashem, I get it. They believed a lot in the circumstance of our life. Hashem is saying something to us. I'd like to share a pasuk in Shmuel Beis. I'm admitting this is a high madrega. I'm admitting that there are many steps to get to this madrega, but I want to study this with you. The scene, to paint the picture of the scene, you need to understand the period and what was going on. David HaMelech had a son, Avshalom, who rebelled against him. The Tsar, the pain mo of such a rebellion, Naira, his son rebelled against him. David HaMelech's the king of Klal Yisrael, and his son tried to usurp him and was very powerful, Avshalom, and got many people to side with him. Eitan, the scene is overwhelming to think about. So picture this scene. David HaMelech has a son who's trying to kill him, trying to usurp, trying to become the king, trying to take away the power, and And David HaMelech, kulay l'shem shamayim. And it's not some enemy trying to hurt him, to kill him, to take away the malchus. It's his son. And he's recruited and gotten strong and powerful people to join him, Avshalom. That's the scene. Amidst this incredibly difficult times, David HaMelech is cursed by Shimi ben Gera. Some huge Talmud Chacham curses David HaMelech out. This is Shmuel Beis. All this is in Shmuel Beis. And at this time, Shimi ben Gera curses the Melech. Now, if you think, there's something called Moirid b'Malchus. If somebody rebels against the king, the halacha is to kill him. It's not mean, oh my gosh, you're so cruel, you killed him. Do you understand? You threaten the whole country. Words are powerful. You can't just bash the king. You can't, it's inappropriate. You can't bash. And the society, David HaMelech, kulay l'shem shamayim. And society runs healthy. There's a melech with the Eimsa de Malchus, with the fear of the king. You don't just get up in Rabbim and bash the king. That's inappropriate, not healthy, not okay. It's not okay. We've gotten somewhat used to, some guy writes an article and knocks the president. Be careful how you talk. The president, by the way, you and I are to be mechabed, President Biden. Don't make fun. It's not appropriate. It's inappropriate. You will not see dignified people. I'm not saying anybody makes fun is not dignified. They're making a mistake. Dignified people will not mean he's a president. President Biden. You don't make fun. You don't mock. You don't. His age, good. So the country as a king, we're people who respect age. He has more years, more experience. You don't make fun of a president. It's inappropriate. It's a weak moment. Somebody knocks, makes fun, mocks. What do? He's the president of the country. There's respect. It's not a pretend world. We've gotten used to a lot of sad things. I admit there's shrushim that could be okay. There's shrushim that people have a voice. There's something called democracy. There's something called kavod hamalchus. Now, he's not a melech. He's not a king. This country doesn't work that way. It doesn't have a king. But even leadership, there's a nasi, and a nasi is treated with respect. It's not flattery in front of him. That those people that mock him, when they're in front of him, they're talking with respect. Then that's fraudulent. The real thing is that it comes to him. He's the nasi of a country. Big people. You would not catch big people. If you were talking to Shmuel Kamenetsky, you would talk with kavod. It's pashut. To me, it's pashut like that. It's pashut like that. That, of course, there's a kavod of the nasi. Is the nasi. So where you speak about the nasi, to the nasi, referring to the nasi, it's pashut like that. Now, David HaMelech is cursed out by somebody. The guy's chayiv misa. You kill him. Because it's not a joke to a country. You can't have the melech cursed out. He's chayiv misa, kipshutai. Shimi ben Gera was chayiv misa. It's dangerous to the whole society. Ilmole malchus, without the king, ishes riyeyu chayim balu. People will kill each other. It's simply for the country, it has to be, there's a melech, and the melech, at the point you have chaos, anarchy, total bedlam, that nobody's afraid of anything. That's crazy. Remember in Eretz Yisrael, I once saw a civilian punch a policeman. My eyes had to see that. To me, it was tragic society. The person should be arrested and locked up for a long time. You can't have a country. You can't have a country that's not respected, the malchus and the people designed to set up the law. You have a backwards, upside down, inside out country. There's something called law, and there's something called seder advarim, and this is the king, and this is the melech. And Shimi ben Gera curses out the king. That's at the beginning. If you know Shmuel Beis in Perek Tazayin, he screams at him terrible things. Shimi ben Gera. Avishai ben Sruya was a big tzaddik, Avishai, and Avishai was the general of David HaMelech's army and a loyalist to David HaMelech. And Avishai says to David HaMelech, Lama yikal lakelev hames. He says, why are we letting this person curse? Hakelev Ames Hazeh. He calls him a very derogatory name. He says, what are we letting this person curse, this dead dog curse? Es Adoni Amelech, my master, the king. Ebra Nova Siras Reisha, please let me, yes, Rishus, could I take off his head, please? So I want to go and behead him. He's cursing the Melech. Chas v'shalom. You have a lawless, crazy country. You know how much death, by the way, somebody curses the king? People think it's innocent. You know, you curse the king, you're responsible for death. People, there's responsibility for actions. You make people get up and knock the president, they're responsible. People knock police. And then we have lawlessness and the police are put in a position they don't have power. You're responsible for death, by the way. The Nazis, Yamach Shemam, killed us. They killed so many Yidden. For many years before, people were mocking Yidden. They were responsible for murder. You cause things, what you say about people as reactions. Somebody curses the Melech, what you're doing, you're a murderer. The guy curses the king is a murderer. And Avishai says, let me behead him. It makes sense. He's publicly cursing the Melech. That's crazy. So he says, please can I kill him? And David HaMelech's response, David HaMelech says something that's Naira. Shimi ben Gera cursed, and he says, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. Said David HaMelech to Avishai, don't touch Shimi. Not now. Don't touch him. Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. God told him to curse David HaMelech. Get this pasuk, Eitan. Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. God had told him to curse David HaMelech. So don't take his head off. Hashem, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. God told him to curse me. Was Shimi ben Gera a Navi, a prophet, who God said, go curse David HaMelech? That's not what happened, Eitan. What does he mean, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David? It means as follows. Shimi ben Gera is a Russia, and he was punished. He subsequently was punished for his rishus, for cursing David HaMelech. It's a Talmud Chacham who did a terrible Aveira and fell very low madregas and was punished. But in terms of the one who was cursed, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel, if I was cursed, God told him to curse me. Our worst enemy with the worst intention can do something bad to us, Eitan. And certainly that we're allowed to be angry at that person. We're human. We're allowed to be angry. We're human. But ultimately, what we understand, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. God told him to curse David. Understand there was some reason from Hashem you should be cursed. What was the reason? Maybe to work on humility. Maybe to be more empathetic to others. Whatever the reason ends up, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. That line, very, very difficult line. Very difficult because we're so mad at the perpetrator. And understandably, and we're human, and we have, and by the way, he's going to be held responsible, the perpetrator. It's such a complicated part of our world that the enemies who hurt us are held responsible. This might be the hardest thing in existence, Yair. That when we go through difficulty, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David. It's hard in our own lives. We went through things young and we're so mad at the perpetrator. And it's almost Hashem, Omer le Kalel es Daniel, Kalel es David, Kalel es Yo-Yo, Kalel es anybody. Why would Hashem let that? We struggle with that. It's from Hashem. Why would Hashem want that, let that? It's difficult. And almost protectively sometimes we don't want to say Hashem, Omer le Kalel es David. But David HaMelech's response that I don't want you to behead him, Ki Hashem Omer le Kalel es David, the response, the absorbing what happened, what's a healthy response. Now, I say it's dangerous because we can become unfeeling, we become pretend. It's very dangerous to teach this truth, Eitan. Because how many people, we're amazingly good at denying feelings that we have. We're superb at it. Eitan, when I was young, I loved stories. When I heard a big tzaddik, he went through a terrible loss. This tzaddik lost a child on Yom Tov, and he still had Yom Tov. When I was young, what a hero. I'm older, I'm more, I don't love the story. Because I'm excellent at hiding my feelings, at ignoring my feelings. It's a dangerous story. It could be a story of godless, it could be a story of katnus. I don't know. The story doesn't tell me enough. The story doesn't tell me enough because we're excellent at not feeling. Human beings are marvelous at it. We're great at it. Also, he also knows how to not feel. I'm like him. I relate to him. I'm great at that. We're great at not feeling. Take another swig of alcohol and don't feel. We're great. And we all have our tricks. Turn on a radio. We're all good at not feeling. That's human. So to anything which gives an excuse not to feel, I'm not so impressed, Eitan. I must be honest. I'm impressed that he had tremendous feelings and he was able to manage and figure out amidst feelings, not repression, not suppression, amidst a human being who feels, but there's a human being who's deciding, who's making decisions deeper than the feelings. There's a chachma deeper than the emotion, but not the emotions are ignored. Hashem doesn't want robots, he wants humans. So somebody hurts us, and you get very frum. Ki Hashem Amar Lakil, as David has a danger of a person just not a feeling person. He turns off emotion. No, it's frustrating. You saw what he did to me. With all the anger that, of course, we're human. We're not shutting off our human emotion. And human emotion was given for reasons. But there's a human being who has something deeper to him, who can think and respond deeper than rage, deeper than anger, deeper than nekama. There's a human being who can decide to respond, who understands Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil as David. So it's this very, very delicate balance of a person who's feeling, Gary, who's not turned off the emotional part of being a human, just robotic. I once heard Rabbi Berkowitz say that if you say Gamzu L'Taiva without crying, you're a pretend person. I once heard Rabbi Berkowitz get upset. Gamzu L'Taiva. You stam shut off your emotion. He said Nebuch. Gamzu L'Taiva, the Gam, even this is for the good. The Gam means a lot of crying. Gamzu. And then from that place of a human being, you bring yourself to Zulu Taiva. If you don't cry, you shut off your emotion, you stop being human. Nebuch, Hashem Yerachim. So this Hashem Amar Lo Kil as David is dangerous to teach, Eitan, because it hurts when somebody hurts us. So you say, Hashem wanted it. So now we're just all a bunch of robots. Ain't davar, because there's no such thing. So it hurts and it stings, and I'm upset at the perpetrator. But deeper than all that is the place, Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil as David. The understanding there was a reason for this. The Rebbeinu Shalom was geyser this, and I can formulate a response. What does Hashem want from me? What is it bringing out of me? What can I do with this? It's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I came late today. I set out from my house a long, long time ago. And I made a detour and spent a long time with somebody who was hurt by others, who was hurt by mean lines, who was hurt by other people. And I sat with a person who was in a lot of tsar. I didn't tell him this. It's not the time, because I was worried that he would stop being b'tsar, and that tsar is normal. I didn't tell him this. I felt I have to tell you this. Ki Hashem Amar Kil as I have to say it. It wasn't what he should be told then. In the moment, it's just to cry with and feel pain. I'm telling you that what we have to learn, and we have to cry, and it hurts when somebody screams at us. But Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil as David. I picture the defensive guy. You're somewhere and somebody rips your yeshiva. Hashem Amar Lo Kil as David. You were supposed to hear that. I'm not saying he won't be punished. You were supposed to hear that. By the way, it's good to hear rips. We have a lot of imperfections. You were supposed to hear that. Maybe it's to bring out that there's something we can work on. Maybe it's to bring out that we have to be more secure. Maybe it's to bring out that you're insecure. If you can't hear a rip, you're insecure. A guy rips, says, what about, I should get up now, give a whole shia ripping the yeshiva. Maybe once I'll do that. Maybe if like a 2-hour, 3-hour shir, I'll say rips on the yeshiva, but real rips, true rips. You'll have to sit there comfortably. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David. Everything that Hashem said that he should curse David. David HaMelech heard a guy cursing him, and he perceived that Hashem's talking to David HaMelech. Whatever David HaMelech learned from hearing Hashem saying that. The world of Chassidische Welt. This is from the Ikarim of what the Baal Shem wanted. I'm not saying, Rav Shaul Alter said this. It's from the main things, not the only teaching, but one of the great teachings, I promise, much bigger than Payas and Shrine, all that. That's an imitation, that's cute. Much, much deeper of what the Baal Shem wanted his students is to learn less, Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David. Something happens, he wanted to produce a person whose response is, the Rabbeinu Shalom said, Kil Es David. And then you figure out, what's my response? But you're human, it hurts. We're not saying not to be human. That's dangerous and not what the desired result is. The hurt person, that's good for the pain, that's sorry. You know what it means to be cursed? David HaMelech's down and out, and this wasn't at the height of power. This is at the most low time of his life. His son's trying to kill him, trying to usurp the Melucha, and at the lowest time imaginable, a person's kid trying to kill him, somebody stood up and cursed him out. And he responds, Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David. Hashem had told him to curse David. If that curses, and he sat there and he absorbed amidst the tsar, amidst the indignity, he engaged. What am I supposed to hear here? What can I hear? What can I learn? What can I be taught? What's the response? Sometimes seeing Ra, it's interesting. Seeing Ra could be all different things. Different things we see. We can learn different things. Sometimes we learned in seeing Ra, sometimes we learned how not to behave. Maybe Hashem wanted me to see that. Hashem wanted me to see, do I do such things to other people? Sometimes that's what you can learn, but you could have a response. If somebody's saying mean things, you could have a response. Wow, that's how it feels. You could have a response to human beings. A guy in yeshiva was mean to other kids. I said to him, you were bullied by other people. You were bullied by other people. You know what it feels like. So he said, that's why I'm bullying. What goes around comes around, he said. That's the opposite. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David. If you just respond, so you're bullied, so then the instinct is, when I'm in power, I bully the next guy. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David is, you were bullied, you went through something, study what Hashem was telling you. Why does Hashem have a guy? Now God did it. Ki Hashem Amar Lo. Why does Hashem have you bullied? There's a measured response He wanted you to feel. One day you'll be in a position and you'll be able, you went through this experience for a reason. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kil Es David. I had a Maisa, I hope to say it over properly. I want to tell you a story that happened to me. I hope I say it properly, and maybe it will show what about Gaiva I am. And if it's still Kedai, I want you to hear the story. I went with a bacher. There was a kid I was close to well before this yeshiva ever was. I went with a bacher to try to get into a yeshiva. He did not have a father in his life. And I took this bacher, we're going to go visit a yeshiva and try to get into the yeshiva. He's a good bacher. And the yeshiva would be lucky to have him. And we were told, we made an appointment, we did it the right way, we made an appointment, and I came with this bacher to get an interview. And let's picture the reality. The reality is that the yeshiva had many applications. They needed us like a hole in that. He wasn't from a reiche mishpacha. He wasn't a rich mishpacha. Yeshiva needs money. Nishkin reiche mishpacha. Good bacher. Very sad. They'd be lucky to teach us in the neshama. But it wasn't like this would help the reputation of the yeshiva. It was another guy. They have 600 applicants. Another one. A nuisance. You're choosing 30 guys. Another mensch. Another guy. Maybe. Could be. And we went for the interview. And we sat there for hours and hours. They kept us waiting hours. I'm talking about 6-7 hours. They kept us waiting. But not as they kept us waiting, there was a sense, who are you? Like, you're so, like we were such a nuisance to a busy place. And I could tell you, I felt like a piece of garbage. And I was just thinking, the bacher with me. By me, I had a yeshiva already. I was older. I was bringing, I didn't have here. I was teaching somewhere else. I didn't need a play, but I was with him on his journey. I felt like a piece of garbage, mamish. Just what they felt. I was just a nuisance bringing a nuisance to try to get into their place. But I felt it profoundly. I felt that way. Just, I'm not so assertive, we came for an interview, but I felt what they felt, what we all felt, but I felt it deeply. Imagine what he felt. He was the nuisance. I was just the nuisance bringing the nuisance. So it was the nuisance bringing the nuisance, waiting for people, like maybe I felt like a piece of garbage, and so did the kid. He felt worse. He needed a place. And the matzav was, we were the shtickle garbage. That's what it was. I asked myself, why did I go? I went for hours. It was a very humbling experience. In that matzah, we were just beg, maybe, I'm not so certain, stand up. We felt, is it possible you could look at us like we had a scheduled appointment, your appointment. You happy what we are? We have 1 million people who could call you. You're a bug. You're a big. You have an appointment. I hear. We were a nuisance, and we felt very, very degraded, both of us. And I asked myself, why do Hashem put us through that? I thought I was doing a nice zach, bringing a guy. And ki Hashem amar ki lasdav. You go through something, it was meant by Hashem. The one who did it, they'll get punished. That's punished. I'm not excited. They'll do tshuva. Better than they'll get punished. They'll do tshuva, and their averis will become mitzvahs. They'll get rewarded for what they did to us. I'm not looking they should be punished. I'm looking they should be rewarded from the tshuva. Zedayinis nasle kizchuyas. They'll get rewarded because they'll do tshuva meyava. But why do we go through that? And Hashem, nothing happens because somebody else. Ki Hashem amar lekil stuff. You go through that. I want to tell you that at that point, I wasn't thinking about making a mesifta. And I want to say that event that happened to me affects me when a guy comes for a bechina. Be'emes, when a guy comes for a bechina, we're pretty packed yeshiva. I remember so stark, and I remember then feeling, when I was in that position, that they're so wrong deeply. Here's an opportunity. Here's somebody's presenting an opportunity. Maybe you'll be zeicher to teach this neshama. They should be trembling in their boots. They should be shaking. We had the chance. Maybe we'll teach a year. They should be shaking. That's the emes. It's not a stitch of exaggeration. If the truth played out, and I felt it then, if this was the truth, you have I don't know if you could, you can't, you're full. You should be shaking in your pants. You don't know what to do. They should be collapsing and fainting. Well, I might have a chance to teach you Torah. I don't know if I'm capable, if I know enough. Am I allowed to have a soul? I don't care how many souls knock at your door. You should be shaking in your boots, and it's an olam hafach reisi, in a pretend world, in an alma de shekra, you bal gaiva. And he is the guy, is it possible? That's an alma de shekra. There's a world of emes. The world of truth, God has a soul, and maybe you'll have the schus of learning. Maybe, I don't know what makes a funny guy like you. Any schus to take in a shama, I don't know, you have schus avos, beseder. That maybe a soul could be entrusted in your hands. When a parent has a child, no parent thinks like this person. Parent has a child, you're overwhelmed. God gave me, you look at the kid. Wow, I can't believe this. Do I even know how? Do I know what? Remember Sunshine, 23 years ago, we became Rebbeim in the yeshiva. We were youngsters. I remember he was shaking. He said, what right do we have? What capacity? I remember him coming as a chaver. I only say it publicly. It would be a private moment. He's chazered this moment publicly many times. I remember him coming to me. He was shaking. He was nervous, and we both felt the same way. We're two kids. Guys are saying, Rebbe. It was so overwhelming. I remember when he came to me as a friend, we're Rebbe, and we were overwhelmed. What is this? And I remember we were mechazik. This is the position we'll put in. Let's try. We were giving each other chizuk. But I remember, I think I'll be nifta remembering that, one of the great conversations of my life. 100 years from now. Name. I'll remember that conversation that Rai Sunshine came over shaking. That's a parent's, when you have a child one day, you're going to look at a child, Rabbi say, you're going to stare at a kid, and you're going to have the sense of Hashem's faith in you. You're going to ask yourself, am I up to this? Am I capable? They're real people here. You're gonna have, the guys here are very authentic. Hey, Tanya, look at a youngster, and Hashem trusts this youngster in your house, in your life. This kid, Chayeyim Tluyim Alecha, his life depends on you. Naira, a lady one day is going to say yes to, will you marry me? Her life depends on you. Her entire Olam Haza, Olam Haba in your hands. It's overwhelming. There's somebody comes and asks to learn in your yeshiva, you should be shaking like a leaf. I felt it then. When I was in the situation, the fallacy, the alma de shekra became clear to me. I was bringing a bacher and we were a nuisance. We were a nuisance. And why did I go through that? Because Hashem knew that years later I'd have a yeshiva. And at first in the yeshiva, you're recruiting guys. At first, the first years, it's a shayach, and that's how it should be. You're begging a bacher to come because the hakara is true. That you need him. You want him. You're not zoiche. You have to you plead daven to Hashem. The alma de shekra, you're a packed place. It could give birth to some arrogance. We're full. I have a thing with myself. I made a pact with myself. A guy comes, I never want it to be, I'll get back. It's like stolzi. I'll get back and call in a week. Then you miss the call for a few weeks. He's like calling. It's very good for the yeshiva. When it's hard to get in the Alma de Shekra is very good for the yeshiva. Word gets out. Tell your Rav to call me now. The Rav's begging. It's very good for yeshiva. It's very good for business. Except it's a big lie. It's a lie. There's the possibility. It's a lie. By the way, if you're going on shidduchim, it's the same thing. A bacher has read many shidduchim. You should shake. Hashem Yerachim. It's one of the great nisyonis of life. Many people read you a shidduch. You're like, hey. Send them away. What? Are you reading me a girl? Are you saying that I'm worthy that her life should be entrusted to me? Should shake if you're honest. By the way, you'll speak to anybody who reads a shidduch. I've seen people annoyed. They get so many shidduchim. Alma de shekra, you're living a lie, you liar. You're living a lie. Somebody's saying, maybe this girl, maybe you should start getting nervous, a little weak-kneed. It's pashut like that. If you're thinking, it's pashut like that. When a person's in a good state of mind, he thinks like that. It's pashut, it's not a chiddush. It's like, whoa. I've seen the guys who behave like this. I've seen, and it's an ernstkeit. It's just true. It's a guy living more emistic. You read a shidduch, I watch it. The guy's like, wow, for me? You think I'm worthy? Wow, okay, I happen to be dating now. Wow, thank you for believing in me like that. Thank you for the chesed. Thank you for the thought. What you're saying, I'm worthy that... You say the girl should have an opportunity like that? That's the emes. Guy goes on a date, the covet to the isha that he would have. Every date she walks out, she feels the covet. Just of the possibility, any girl you ever go out with should feel 1,000,000 times better after she dates you. Any girl, it's dvarim pshutim. Just the thought, the respect that you'd have. People open up the door and cute zachen. That's all cute. That should come from a deep, deep place. A sense of, I'm shaykh to that. Wow. And she should feel that covet and be a changed person forever. Because it's true. I made a pact with myself that in doing interviews, it can never be a guy's waiting for me. I'm like, oh, I'll get back. I'll see. I have to wait for you. I have to tell you, I beg you to come. Don't say yes. I always tell us, don't say yes. You snob me out like crazy. Tell me in a week, I'll call you again. You tell me if you push it, if the yeshiva is zeichen. You tell me, you say, I'll call you back. You'll ask, think about it. You tell me, I beg you. And it ends up, you don't accept the guy to yeshiva, you plead with him to come. There's no accept. The yeshiva that accepts is living in an alma de shekra. You never accept one guy, you beg a guy to come. I don't care how many applicants you get, how many, and if you say a no, the no is not, sorry, we're full. The no is, we're not zeicher. We're not big enough. The etzem, you should be, this is the emes. You should be overwhelmed. If there's arrogance, it's an alma de shekra, it's a lie. So I went through that. It was so pashut. It was so pashut. At the time, I didn't know why. Ki Hashem amar lo, Hashem said to do it. The time I had no yeshiva, why would you get so disgraced? Why would you live such a lie? Why would you be exposed to such a lie? Because I was able then to see what the truth was. I didn't have so much bias. It wasn't even my son. I didn't have bias. I just saw it. I wanted a shrine in the office. I wanted everybody stop working, close the yeshiva for a few months and learn the truth. Learn the emes. You want yeshiva to be a place of emes. Close it down for a few months and learn the emes. A guy is in your office and doesn't have the sense that we zeicher. If he doesn't have that sense, you're a place of sheker. Yeshivas need to teach emes. What's happening here? What's going on here? What are you teaching? The teretz is you're overwhelmed that, oh my goodness, to think we would have such a chance. That's the emes. That's the emes. That's the truth. Now it could be you only have a certain amount of slots. It's a very complicated situation you're in. Hashem wasn't mizaki you with more slots, with more capacity. Okay, then it should have a whole different feel. It should feel that way because that's the truth. That's the truth should feel. A guy reads you a shidduch. It's pashut by me. It's pashut by me. I've read a shidduch to somebody who's living sincerely. They're like feel, well, thank you. Thanks so much for you thinking. Wow, thank you. But not they say it. I'm talking what to say, like etiquette. Not learning here the rules of etiquette. I'm talking about a guy who's, somebody's overwhelmed. I don't blame him. He's not miyoshev. Somebody's b'yishev adas and you read him a shidduch. It's like, thank you. Wow. Can't believe you're thinking about me like that. And you're even saying, wow. Thank you. What a chizuk. Before even, is it the right shidduch, the wrong shidduch? Am I busy? Am I not? Thank you for the compliment, for the belief. And I've had times in yeshiva, a guy says he wants to read his sister for a guy, but I'm so embarrassed. I said, can we step back for a second? You're telling the guy that you trust him to marry your sister. Can you just give the guy the compliment? You look embarrassed. I don't know. I haven't told the guy. Can we step out of the Alma de Shikra for a minute? And there's a world of emes. You're walking up to a guy and you're saying, I think you'd be good for my sister. The guy should look, whether it works, it doesn't work, the guy should melt. Well, you think about it, a big hug. He just said the biggest compliment of your life. Give him a hug. Thank him for thinking about, we're best friends the rest of our life, whatever happens with the shidduch. You just said that I think my sister will be safe in your hands. The rest of my life, we're best friends. Guys, I'm worried. Maybe it won't work. Maybe then it will be a matzah. There's no problem with your friendship the rest of your life. He just said that his sister's a good shidduch for you. So, you're now friends for life. He just gave you the biggest compliment of your life. The biggest ever. You just got complimented. For the rest of your life, just know your friends, know your enemies. He's your friend. That's what he holds about you. Naira. Ki Hashem Amar Laikil Les David. This attitude, Rabbi, when we go through a hardship, when we go through something, this is what the Baal Shem taught his Talmidim. Somebody shries out at you, stupid Jew. Somebody calls out a line I shouldn't hear. Somebody calls you walk in the street. A Talmud of the Baal Shem says I have to be more proud of who I am. Whatever he learns from it. But he absorbs something. He might be angry, and that person should be punished for saying a mean zach. And Hashem runs a multifaceted world. A lot's going on. But there's a madrega that he understands. Wow, Hashem, ki Hashem Amalei Kil Les David. Wow, Hashem wanted me to hear that. Interesting. I wonder why. Maybe I have to have more pride so as we forget who we are. So a guy with all his meanness, I'm a yid. I forgot I'm a yid. Then he walks out with more awareness that he's a yid. Or any other of many attitudes, and maybe that's overly simplistic. Let to walk away. Everybody has different, but understand the Ki Hashem Amalei Kil Les David. I wanted to share this idea in Chassidus with the guys. I felt that on the way here to learn the parsha which I've read about the parsha of the Mekalel, of the cursor. Here we talked about the cursee, the one who is cursed. This parsha speaks about the Mekalel. We speak about the one who was Mekolel, the one who was cursed. I wanted to share this with the Chevra. I think it's very, very important.
Thank you so much. That's Hasidus to hear.
There's so many cool things you hear in your life, different statements, different people say things. There's so much to tell. There's so many good stories of people who heard a line, something like shries at you something. like it hits you, like he's saying something good, he's saying something.
That's Hasidus?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
I want to be Hasidish. He loves Hasidus.
I went with my sons. I have this hobby. I like doing it. I like doing this. I went with my sons, and we go to the Nurk. This is like what Bein Hazmanim. I like hanging with my boys. And one of the activities we do that's just a lot of fun is I'll take my boys, we'll go to the Nurk, and we take on the Chevra at the Nurk. We do this a few times a year. It's a blast. We have our own squad. Baruch Hashem, I have 4 starke boys that all can run around Geschmack. And Yisrael Meir is a little younger, though he's starting to think he can run with them also. But I take my 4 older boys, and I'm the 5th guy, and I can bang around a little bit these days also. So us 5, we go together and we take on the Chevra at the Nurk. It's a lot of fun.
Jewish peoples?
No. That's who's there. We take on the Chevra at the Nurk. We do this a few times a year. Then we're not all together. It's a lot of fun. We've had some very, very good games. Sometimes, David, you have to have patience. Because the first Chevra you play could be a little high and not so with the program. You beat the first team, guys always come after, and they know about us already. There's an older man who's called the coach. He calls us the because we pass. It's a little bit of a novelty that we don't play 1-on-5. He calls us the Spurs. Geschmack. It's a lot of fun. And we say this. So we go there. There's the older man who loves us, and he's always, none of you will beat them. Good. We win. We lose. Geschmack. And the first game always a little weak. Then they call friends, chaverim. They come down. They're here. Geschmack. They know us already. Fine. There was a guy there who was there, and he was like shouting the first game. I bet all my money they're gonna lose. I'll put down. You want to bet? He was like talking to us. Do you want to bet me? I'll bet 10,000. You'll lose 20,000, 50. He was shrieing a lot about betting against us, and Hashem Amar Lo Kilas David. We're all very competitive. It's not very smart to tell Hudi that you bet 50,000 against him. It's not the smartest thing ever to do. But the guy was betting against us. But everything happens is for a reason. And he had the guys and we're all like a shtickle, the competitive bunch. And he was very loud and very stark, laughing and mocking and this betting against us. But I was thinking to myself about people who bet on us and bet against us. I was thinking about it. It struck me somewhere. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kilas David. And it struck me that we can bet on people who bets on us. It struck me about betting on people and betting against people. It struck me a lot. That in our lives, we have many times to bet on people. It's interesting. A friend of mine recently was talking about he has a business venture and he needs somebody to invest with him. And he was telling what that means. You're betting on somebody. To invest is very complicated. You're putting out money. You could lose it all. You're less betting on an idea than betting on a person. People go to the Shark Tank to pitch their ideas. I don't think they listen. I don't think the moguls, I don't think they're really looking much, and they're not thinking a lot about his idea. I don't think so. Because ideas are very hard to prove they'll work or they won't work. I suspect they're much more thinking about the person. When they ask questions about his idea, they're only trying to see the type of person. If you're betting millions of dollars, I don't think you're betting on ideas. This idea works, this doesn't. It's very hard to predict what's going to work. Maybe they try. My suspicion, I'm no Shark Tank expert. I know Chevra like Shark Tank. I'm not such a bakant. It's not like my main. If I'd be looking at something, it would probably be more sports. But my guess is that they're investing not in an idea but in people. This friend of mine was talking about getting people to invest in him. He was talking about people betting on him, not betting on his idea. This guy shouting at the sidelines that I'll bet against you, it made me think a lot about betting for people and betting against people. Hashem Amar like Kilas David. How much we could do to our friends that we bet on them, and they're all different forms of what it looks like that we bet on our friends. How much chizuk that is to a person. It's a certain thing. It says a certain thing when you bet against the person, and it says a certain thing when you bet for it. It made me think. In my own life. Am I betting on the people I want to bet on? It caused a lot of questions when this guy on the sideline was like shrying. He was screaming like Mamish Lebedik betting against us. It was so obvious that I needed to hear that. Ki Hashem Amar Lo Kill as though here's a guy at the sideline jumping up. I'm not
what happened in the game? What happened?
Rezzi's right. Look, you give these stories like you have to win, and Hootie tipped it in with a second left. I don't remember, to be honest. Usually my boys win. No, I wish I remembered. It's not fair, like to say the story. You want to hear the game was close. I don't remember.
Who do you remember?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that time. Remember, this guy was handling Stark to bet against us. I remember he was up and down the sidelines. I remember when it was like a good game, he was like, he quieted down. That I do remember. But what happened, I don't. This Reb Shaul Alter, who said over this, Ki Hashem Amar Laikil David, is somebody who went through a lot of pressures himself. In starting a new Chasidus, it seems not everybody was so maskim to what he did. And I've heard him speak a number of times now recently, a couple of times I've heard him speak. And I've been so nishtaimim from how calm he is. One of the calmest people I ever met in my life. A person who faced a lot of pressure and a lot of punishment from people for what he's doing, the calmness of the person, so he's not dairish and not mekayim. The person who lives with a certain serenity, he feels a very feeling person. I could sense it. Very feeling. I'm not impressed anymore. Somebody like is able not to feel. That's a robot. I'm not impressed with robots. AI doesn't feel. Human beings feel, but a person who then could like measure a response from a deep place, from an intelligent place, from a place of Ki Hashem Amar Laikil Es David, and respond and think it through and bring himself somewhere. A feeling person who could then bring himself somewhere. I'm very, very impressed by that. I'm very moved by that Metzius. I'll close with one more thing, just really, really bekitzer, and this is something we're getting close to Lag BaOmer. We're headed now that it's Chaf Tes. It's Chaf Tes. It's the 29th day of the Omer. We're headed towards Lag BaOmer. What Lag BaOmer is, what's the celebration of Lag BaOmer? Why is it in any way a celebration? It's a very big shayla. Is it Reb Shimon Bar Yochai's yahrzeit? It could be. It's not mivur. It could be. It's connected to Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, that's for sure. In one place, it sounds like it's his yahrzeit. For sure, Reb Chaim Vital brings. Reb Chaim Vital was the main student of the Arizal, and he brings that Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was a Talmud of Rabbi Kiva. And Rabbi Kiva, we know, lost 24,000 Talmidim. We learned the story of the great Rabbi Kiva. And his Talmidim were nifter in a tragedy in Klal Yisrael. You and I would be different if there were 24,000 Talmidim, Rabbi Kiva. We'd be bigger people. Things would change. And Avad Hashem saw that it shouldn't be that way. There was a Pagam, so obviously it would be flawed people. And Hashem took away the 24,000 Talmidim, Rabbi Kiva. And in an incredible move, Rabbi Kiva could have stopped. He could have seen the Menea. He could have seen Hashem. That's the greatest Menea. He's a Rosh Yeshiva who faces such tragedy that something sweeps through his yeshiva, and his whole yeshiva was nifter. He could have stopped. And he could have said about the difficulties that, look, Hashem wants me. Clearly, this is not what I'm not supposed to be the teacher of Torah to Klal Yisrael. His Talmidim, his life's work, was all decimated. And Rabbi Kiva rebuilt. And he had 5 new Talmidim in Durham. He went to Durham. And he taught. We like Durham. And he taught in the Durham 5 new Talmidim. And from those Talmidim, most of the Torah we have today comes from those 5 new Talmidim. One of those 5 Talmidim was none other than Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. And the celebration on Lag BaOmer of Shimon Bar Yochai is Rabbi Akiva's decision to keep pushing forward, to keep teaching Torah, to teaching. That's a big part of Lag BaOmer, is that fight forward. The story of Torah Shabbal Peh is Amelus. It's interesting. Chumash, you can learn a certain amount of time, halacha. Gemara's amelus is toil. Gemara is built on effort and diligence. I watched the way the Chabur at this row learns, and they fight and work through and speak over the schwitzing. Torah Shabbal Peh is toil, is difficulty, is overcoming. That's how Torah Shabbal Peh works. People committed and people fighting for something. And the teacher of Torah Shabbal Peh, Rabbi Akiva, overcame something incredibly difficult and fought through adversity. That's the teacher of Torah Shabbal Peh. The story of Rabbi Akiva's own life was not learning he didn't learn till 40, and he overcame the odds and he learned Torah. This is the teacher of Torah Shabbal Peh. I don't think Torah Shabbal Peh can come through any other person, but a person who defied the odds and overcame the obstacle of being an Amaretz, overcame the obstacle of living in abject poverty till he became wealthy, and overcame the obstacle of that which he worked so hard for was decimated. His yeshiva was decimated, and yet he taught again. Lag BaOmer, the celebration of Lag BaOmer, it says that the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. And that would not be a cause of celebration because they stopped dying because there was none left. The celebration, of course, is that after they were nifter, he rebuilt. That Rabbi Akiva rebuilt, that's Lag BaOmer, the rebuilding. That Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, if it was his yard site, but certainly he learned by Rabbi Akiva. And Lag BaOmer is the day we celebrate that Rabbi Akiva continued to build, and the perseverance, despite difficulty, that is the start of Torah Shabbal Peh. That's the story of Torah Shabbal Peh. A people committed to Torah, committed to Hashem despite difficulty. That's the story, and that's what Torah Shabbal Peh is all about. And that's what we celebrate with Shimon Bar Yochai on Lag BaOmer. The story of steiging through difficulty, of steiging amidst difficulty, of steiging despite meniyos. That's the story of Lag BaOmer. That's the story of Lag BaOmer. That's the chizuk of Lag BaOmer. And we all have a Lag BaOmer before Shavuos. Our pathway to Kabbalah Satira goes by way of a Lag BaOmer. The day of celebrating perseverance, difficulty, meniyos, blockages, and he who fights through. I spoke this week. Yo-Yo spoke on Avos, and he said, beautiful, on the Kol Yisrael Yeshlem Chelik Lo'olam Haba. And I spoke a little. I introduced Yo-Yo. I have a tremendous nachas when I see guys who can mail it in. Say I'm a good guy. And the story of Torah Shabbal Peh is you have to fight for it. That's how Torah Shabbal Peh works. Other things, a guy is a good guy. He's a good thing. You want Torah Shabbal Peh. The word hamelus, it needs it's a Medrash Tanchuma in Parshas Noach. He speaks about this. Torah Shabbal Peh. A Tanai of Torah Shabbal Peh, a person wants to form that deep connection to Torah Shabbal Peh. The Torah that we are, there's the Sefer Torah that the Torah is the parchment. The parchment of Torah Shabbal Peh is you and I. Anybody who wants Torah Shabbal Peh, the cost is amelus. Tremendous difficulty and overcoming. It's built into Torah Shabbal Peh. There's no way other things you can get relatively easily. Gemara and Torah Shabbal Peh, to become part of that discussion of Torah Shabbal Peh, to have a strong opinion that carries weight, that's deep, you have to toil and work hard for it. I have tremendous nachas in yeshiva. It's so beautiful that in the weeks leading up to Shavuos, guys are really busting it to learn Gemara. It's very, very difficult. Gemara you can't lie down and read Gemara. Gemara's, you have to fight for what's being said, what's being taught, what's the kasha, what's the teretz, what's Torah Shabbal Peh by its nature needs amelus, needs tremendous diligence, tremendous tenacity. It needs a person who doesn't quit, who doesn't take shots. I'm out. That's what Torah Sheba'al Peh requires. The one who gave us Torah Sheba'al Peh, one of the main people of the Messiah of Torah Sheba'al Peh is Rabbi Kiva. And the story of Rabbi Kiva is Amelus, tremendous Amelus, fighting through difficulty. And the story of Lag BaOmer is that tenacity, 24,000 Talmidim, such a tzara, and the fight through. The 5 new Talmidim, ever fresh, ever new, ever plowing on, ever pushing on, that's Lag BaOmer. So that's the Lag BaOmer celebration, the story of perseverance, the story of overcoming, the story of Torah Sheba'al Peh, of the Yid grabbing onto Torah, locking into Torah, connecting to Torah, becoming the parchment of Torah is Lag BaOmer. So that's the Chag that's coming. That's the holiday. We'll try to learn. We've been studying Rabbi Kiva. We'll try to study Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the Talmud Rabbi Kiva. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, nothing's a coincidence. The story of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said on himself that he became great through the difficulties that he encountered. Ashrecha shari isani bekach. You're lucky that you saw my Yisurim. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is that person who became great through his Yisurim. Perseverance, fighting, battling for something. And that's the song of the yeshiva. I'm excited for Lag BaOmer. We're headed, the song of our yeshiva. Literally, the national anthem of our yeshiva is B'ma'aras surim she'amadata. It says, Bar Yochai Moishav Tov Yashavta. You had a very good dwelling place. Yom Nasta, Yom Asher Barachta. The day you ran away, we discussed the double lashon. He ran twice. We'll learn the story yet. B'ma'aras surim she'amadata, in that rock cave that you dwelt. In all the difficulties, that rock cave, representing all the difficulties of Shimon Bar Yochai, Sham Kanisa Hoitcha V'Adorecha. Precisely there and only there you acquired your beauty. Sham Kanisa Hoitcha V'Adorecha. Perseverance is the story of Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's the story of the preciousness to the Yid. It's the story of the commitment to the Yid. I want to say that people have a slogan, never again. It's a very sad slogan. We don't use that slogan in yeshiva. The never again slogan saw the Yid as persecuted in the Holocaust. The Yid was persecuted. And they said, look, he's the poor person. We will never be that gullus Yid, never again. We're going to get bigger muscles. We're going to work out harder, go to the grind. And now we're strong, never again. Tremendous, profound error of what's happening in this world. This world's a place, and it leads to terrible mistakes. I have seen people go through difficulties and melt. I have seen people try to build yeshivas and build idealism. If you don't encounter difficulty, you should know that you're doing the wrong thing. It says Hashem's mivakesh the nirduf. Hashem likes the underdog. Hashem's a met fan. Why does Hashem like the nirduf? Why does Hashem... It says if a tzaddik traces a Russia, Hashem will like the Russia. It says Hashem's mivakesh the nirduf. If a tzaddik chases the Russia, Hashem likes the Russia. Whoever is being chased, Hashem likes. He doesn't favor the chaser. He favors the chasee. You'll see in your life the one being chased is bigger. Hashem likes him. Hashem favors him. This world's designed that there's Hester. Hashem hides. That's how the world's designed. The chased means that you have to fight through something. That's how Hashem designed the world. If you're being chased, it's not a sense, never again, we allowed ourselves to be victims. No, we're in Olam Hazeh with the opportunity of bringing Kiddush Shemayim. It's a Sfas Emes in this week's Parsha. I'm in Iktashti B'Soich B'nei Yisrael. I'm bringing Kiddush Shemayim. The Sfas Emes expresses that we're designed in this world, that we're being chased as the pshat, that there's a chitzonius of sheker. There's klipos, there's that which covers the emes, and the emes has to fight through. The emes, the story of the difficulties of the Holocaust and all persecution, is not a story of a weak person and now we're going to be stronger. It's the story of people that were true to Hashem no matter what the obstacles were. And that's how Hashem designed the world, that they're redifos. They're things covering up, blocking, and the story of Olam Hazeh is the opportunity to fight through all the sheker. is to stand up for what's true. If you do anything true in your life, it's not a tragedy that you'll have obstacles and opposition. It's called Olam Hazeh. It's your opportunity to stand for what's true and to burst through and bring emes. That's the opportunity of this world. To make a slogan, you're missing what happened. What happened is the opportunity of Yechidim, difficult and dire and tough situations, to stand up for what's true despite all horrific things and people who were just, this is the truth and I won't be budged from the truth. It's the maddeningly frustrating thing to any chakran. It's so frustrating. No matter what I do to you, you won't let go. The mishtachim b'tzar dilahin v'asken b'ched v'sadili. The story of a people that's committed to truth and will burst forth. V'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. They'll bring out kiddush shamayim despite odds. That's our possibility. That's the beautiful opportunity of existence in this world. Nobody should melt from meniyos. Nobody should melt from blockages. Nobody should melt from obstacles. Nobody should melt from opposition. I came on the way to yeshiva today, and I came an hour and a half, 2 hours after I set out, because somebody was going through opposition. I wanted to sit with somebody going through opposition. I want to know that opposition and obstacles doesn't tell you that you're wrong. It teaches you about opportunity. The Never Again slogan misses it all. The Never Again slogan says, we won't allow ourselves. What are you, you're denying the world. You're fighting. The real slogan is we will always be true to you, Hashem. That's the real. The fist should say, forever yours. Forever. The real slogan and response to Holocaust is forever yours, God. V'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. I think that's the real slogan. I would write, I'd show a muscle, and I would say forever yours. Nothing budges us from you. Nothing. There'll be klipos, there'll be chitzonius, there'll be a world of opposition. That's how you built this world. And the opportunity of Kiddush Shamayim. What does it mean a Yid could make a Kiddush Shamayim? By force, there has to be forces against such. What does it mean we have a unique opportunity? The highest mitzvah in our whole Torah is Kiddush Shamayim. And we tell little kids, don't make a Chil Hashem. The highest thing in this world is Kiddush Shamayim. The lowest Aveir is Chil Hashem. What does that mean? You could be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. What does that mean? It means I will create a world where there are klipos, where there are blockages. And by the way, when you're doing what's right, you will face blockages. If you don't face blockages, stop what you're doing. If you don't face obstacles to what you're doing, stop what you're doing. You're not doing the right thing. Because there are no obstacles. There's no mikdash. You first check if you're alive. You might not be alive if you don't have obstacles. And then make sure you're doing what's right, because you might not be. If you're doing what's right, Hashem, it's a beautiful world, but a world of nikdashti, of making kiddush. The opportunity to make means there are klipos, means there's some blockages, Eitan. So when we face blockages, don't melt, don't collapse, don't give up. Say forever yours. That's my motto. My motto of the Holocaust is forever yours. Difficulties, challenges, beating, forever yours. We're not letting go. The stubborn sticking to us, it's Lag Ba'omer. Lag Ba'omer is forever yours. The stubborn tenacity to that which is true, to Torah, to Hashem and His Torah. That stubborn tenacity, of course there are difficulty, of course there are obstacles, of course things happen, there are klipos. That's the opportunity of this world. To bust. When we speak about an Alma de Shekra, I'm not creating like a bad, the world's a beautiful place because there's klipos. That's the opportunity of this world, because there's like difficulty and blockages. That's the beauty of this world. It's a beautiful place. It's a place where we can shine through and stick and announce and commit and fight through and get something through. We can create a lot of art. It's a beautiful world. Toiv ma'oid, gewaltige Welt. The obstacles don't make you cynical. Oh my goodness, what a bad world. Any truth faced, any great one in our history, any great one that we look up to faced obstacles. My wife and I were listening to a very intellectual. I thought it was well done. I advise guys to see it. They did something on Meir Shapiro's life. This Yid started Chachmei Lublin and started Daf Yomi, Tzaddik. My wife and I saw a documentary about Meir Shapiro, and it struck us how many difficulties he went through. Say, goodness me, you're doing such a good thing. You face so many obstacles. The cynic gets upset about the world. What is a guy? What is a human being? Just to put a nice... If there wouldn't be obstacles, I've asked Hashem on difficulties being encountered with the yeshiva, what do you want? He wants v'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. Hashem, if he doesn't want a world of angels, he gave an opportunity that you have to fight for what's true. He gave an opportunity that there's all different forces, that there are all different forces against, and I don't say to be part of those forces. And the people who decide to be against, all the people decide to be against is a decision of theirs. But I say to us that there's an opportunity in a world to fight for something true. It's a beautiful world. Don't become cynical about the world because there are obstacles, because there's destruction, because there's difficulty, there's things fighting. Hashem designed the world that there are things fighting the emes. That's the opportunity to bring Kedusha and to fight through. Forever yours is the slogan from difficult times. Never stopping. We're going to fight through. V'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. The Sfas Emes speaks on this week's parsha. So the difficulty of Shimon Bar Yochai faces, the cynic says, was für Welt? What type of world? The deeper person says, what a beautiful world. There's great opportunity to push forth Ar v'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. The redifais that the righteous one has, that he's chased, means that there's forces against that he can overcome. That's how Hashem designed the world. And Hashem's mivakish the near. If he looks for the one in the position that there are forces he's encountering and he battles through. A youngster, how many youngsters in yeshiva say, Hashem must be so against me. He gave me so many things stacked. V'nikdashti is just calling to you. V'nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. The youngster who encountered difficulty, he's saying v'nikdashti. He gives him a clear path. You could bring great kedusha, the forever yours. You're shaykh to the slogan, the muscle, forever yours. The never again was a mistake. Good yidden. They mean well. The slogan's good, a muscle, and it should say under forever yours. My Oma is part of that. She's forever yours. Forever yours. They mixed up. Innocent mistake, that's what they mean. Forever yours. Not never again. Forever yours. Difficulties, Schwierigkeiten, obstacles, people standing up, hisnagdus. Ki Hashem Amar Lekil as David. That's all part of Ki Hashem Amar Lekil as David. David HaMelech faces somebody cursing him out. He doesn't say, and his Avishai says, let me behead him. He says, no. Obstacles, Ki Hashem Amar Lekil as David. He's giving me a chance to shine forth. I'm a chased. I'm not the one who's chasing, I'm the chased. Ki Hashem Amar Lekil as David. I have a chance to fight through when the chips are down. David HaMelech's the spitz, Evem Mayasu Abaynim. The stone who's disgusted by the builders, Haisal Rosh Pina, becomes the cornerstone. Despite difficulties, that's Lag Ba'omer. B'ma'aras Surim Shamadita, in the dark cave. Sham Kanisa, there, precisely there, you acquire your beauty. Life has nisyanis, my friends. There are challenges, a beautiful opportunity to say forever yours. A good Shabbos Kodesh, Yashkayach Rabbi say. What time? What time? 7:34 candlelighting.
4:45, tell him out.
I'm not telling anybody what to